Some of the best fig varieties in the world are of the Smyrna type. This means that these fig varieties require pollination, which is carried out by small fig wasps that live in wild fig tree varieties known as Caprifigs. Without pollination, Smyrna fig varieties will quickly dry out and fall without setting a crop. I have a fig tree that has 12 different fig varieties grafted, and some of those varieties require caprification, that is, pollination by the fig wasp. So, when the little Smyrna figs start to grow, I have to obtain a few fruits filled with insects from the spring crop of a Caprifig tree. The fig wasps, covered in pollen, will leave the Caprifigs and will pollinate my Smyrna fig varieties. Failure to obtain this profiki Caprifig crop will result in the loss of all my Smyrna type figs. One of the options for the fig enthusiast is to graft a couple of different Caprifig varieties to an established fig tree. In the right hardiness zones and with adequate maintenance, these Caprifig grafts can maintain enough fig wasps throughout the year, solving the problem of Smyrna varieties pollination. To know more about the fig wasp and fig pollination, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications on your device so you don't miss my next detailed video that will soon be published on the subject. One of the options for the fig enthusiast is to graft a couple of different Caprifig varieties to an established fig tree. In the center of my 12 varieties fig tree, I already have a grafted Caprifig variety. Unfortunately, it drops its entire winter crop, since my zone is a bit cooler than the south of the country where it was obtained. So, I am going to replace it and graft two different very prolific Caprifig varieties that come from colder regions and have different maturation seasons. After removing all the leaves, and since the scions are quite small in diameter, I opted for the modified cleft graft technique. Holding to the branch and being very gentle with a knife, make a vertical cut near one of the edges. Holding to the branch ensures that the knife doesn't slip, avoiding injuries and failed cuts. Make a bevel cut in the scion and a small back cut on the opposite side. Insert the scion firmly near one side of the vertical cut, with the back cut facing forward. The cambium layers of the scion and the rootstock will cross near the bottom of the cut, which will guarantee the graft success. Tie the graft with raffia or flexible rubber tape. Protect the graft against dehydration. Here I am using parafilm. Since parafilm is a waxed-based tape, I can also cover the scion, as the growing buds will break free from the tape easily, unlike plastic tapes. Another good option is to cover the graft with a padded envelope. The envelope will have to be removed after a few weeks, or the growing buds will die from lack of sunlight. Keeping track of your grafts is easier if you write the date in the envelope. If some of the scions have the same diameter as the branches of the rootstock, I prefer to use the whip and tongue grafting technique. I start by selecting a straight section of the branch between two nodes, where I cut the top of the branch. Then, I make two identical bevel cuts in the rootstock and in the scion. The scion and the rootstock branch should have similar diameters. When adjusted, the scion must not overlap the rootstock, so the cuts should have identical lengths. If needed, redo the cuts so they have the same length. Start the tongue cut with a delicate rocking motion. Keep the knife under control at all times, using the techniques I showed in my video on grafting cuts safety. Check the channel to know more. Since the tongue has to be cut towards you, locking the thumbs is essential to avoid slips of the knife. When adjusting the scion to the rootstock branch, be sure that the ends of the cuts don't overlap. Tie the graft using raffia or flexible tape. Using parafilm is optional, since I am going to use a padded envelope to protect the graft. Be sure to remove all rootstock buds. If you don't remove the rootstock buds, the graft can fail, as I will show in another graft example. Protect the graft with a padded envelope and label the variety. After 3 or 4 weeks, the padded envelope will have to be opened or removed, since the new growth will not survive in obscurity. The fig that was attached to the scion has fallen, which is a good sign that the graft has taken. The new leaves are starting to grow. The second graft is in trouble. The rootstock lower buds were not completely removed, and they grow much quicker, using all the nutrients. With luck, the graft is still okay, and removing the rootstock growth might save it. 15 days later, still nothing on the second graft. Finally, 10 weeks after the graft, all seems fine. There is even a small fig growing on this Caprifig variety. It's a good idea to support the graft during the first 6 months, so birds or strong winds don't break it. One of the grafts was not so lucky. The growth from the lower rootstock buds was left unchecked for too long. This has removed essential nutrients and has probably caused graft failure. Notice that in this situation, the small Caprifigs I left in the scion haven't fallen, unlike what happened in the grafts that were successful. I decided to keep the old Caprifig variety that was previously grafted to this branch. It's always better to have several different Caprifig varieties with different maturation seasons and different cold requirements to have more chances of sustaining a fig wasp population. Although most problems of fig swelling are usually connected to high moisture levels, there is a chance that excessive pollination might have a negative impact on your fig crop. If you experience problems from excessive pollination, consider grafting your Caprifig trees away from your fig orchard, and instead bring a few mature Prophyci with the fig wasps near the Smyrna varieties that need them at the right season. I can assure you that all this trouble is worth it. There aren't many things that taste better than a good pollinated fig variety. If you appreciate my videos, you can help me make more by liking, subscribing, sharing the video and leaving a comment. Be sure to activate all notifications on your device so you don't miss my next videos. Thanks for watching.